Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Packer Universe podcast. We're a Green Bay Packers fan podcast bringing you topical and relevant Packers news, along with our most humble, subjective opinions. This is episode 263. We're recording this on a Wednesday, March 13th, 2024. The new league year has started. Packers free agency has been super active and, quite honestly, an emotional roller coaster, with most moves being anticipated, but certainly one was not. And we'll get into it. I'm your host, Tay, and joining me in the studio tonight is our one and only
Ren. What up, Tay? And Happy New Year to you here on day one of the 2024 NFL league year.
Thanks, Ren. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Where officially signings can be made. Official
after as of 3 p.m. Central Time.
After I think it was something like that, 3 p.m. Central Time here today, Tay. But not yet official was some of the big news of the actual signings, not the releases, which we'll get to on Monday. We're just talking off the mic. It has not been made. Just went to the Packers Twitter, X site, and they have not made the McKinney or Josh Jacobs signings yet official. So they are not officially yet, Tay.
Packer Universe, Ren came in kind of like worried. He gets that look. He's like, the stuff could go south. It's that look he gets when he's not confident in something, and he likes to get a little worried. He gets his little jock strap in a bundle here, and that's because he sees all of these other contracts just rolling in officially after 3 p.m. and then he's not seeing anything. Crickets almost from the Packers. He's getting a little worried.
We
guys.
got the official notifications on Ballantyne with a B and Tyler Davis, Tay.
Yeah.
But nothing else per the Green Bay Packers X website that indicates
it's okay.
These signings are yet official.
So, basically Packer free agency started like about maybe last Friday or Saturday. We had the announcement that we were going to release Devondre Campbell
was the first one to come down. Yep.
So I'll just run through quick what happened, and then we can start getting into this. But basically, what happened was the announcement of Devondre Campbell was going to be be That was going to happen. That was the first news, and then
with a post June 1 designation, so they get that $10+ million of cap savings.
So then we got the announcement of cutting David Bakhtiari on Monday morning. We signed Tyler Davis. We lose Darnell Savage. We signed Josh Jacobs. 10 minutes later, we cut Aaron Jones. That's obviously the big one. Then an hour later, we signed Xavier McKinney. That was another big one. We lose John Runyon Jr. We lose Jonathan Owens. And, well, we're not losing that, but they signed somewhere else. And then we signed Corey Ballantyne. And then you just told me today when you came in here that we got who else? We signed
Eric Wilson. Special teams, another special teams guru. Eric Wilson is back in the fold. He's not official though, Tay. Has not been made official, but yes. So that part also was confirmed per the X interwebs.
It was quite a roller coaster, like I led with in the intro. And it certainly was. Things were up, things were down, and to me, it was really overshadowed a ton by the release of Aaron Jones.
Oh, Tay,
we'll get into that a little bit.
Big time, because we gotta hash out some feels on Aaron Jones. It was big time. Yeah, why don't we just talk about it? You just brought it up. It's on
does
everybody's mind.
It's the biggest one.
It just because a couple weeks ago we're talking about it, and I think maybe you owe Tom Silverstein an apology, Tay. You were starting to maybe be like, Tom shouldn't be saying some of this stuff, and I'm like, listen,
it's true that during that when
he had an idea, and Tom's being reported to.
He was being reported.
Tom's been around a minute, as the kids say, Tay.
Tommy, I'm sorry.
On the beat.
I'm sorry, Tommy. So
he has been around.
And it was alluded to and reported that talks were going on with Aaron Jones for a couple weeks.
Correct.
And then all of a sudden,
if they couldn't get a deal done in the article, he said,
he's going to be released.
That he initially said would be, and then he changed it to could be.
Could be released. And so basically what we got, and we got all this information after the fact, kind of trickled in over the last couple of days, but basically last Friday was like
was the D-Day.
Sounds like it was like after all these negotiations over the week, they gave him this is it. This is our final offer, Aaron, and Drew Rosenhaus said no. And then we said, okay. And then after that, Aaron probably could go out and start getting interest. And then Packers decided to then, I guess in a sense, say like, well, since you didn't take our last offer, we're going to take it back and we're going to just move forward and target another running back. They targeted Josh Jacobs. They, in theory, got a deal done, and that was released on Monday after... this is before.
I think John Runyon went first, because I was that looks a little rich for the Packers' blood. There's probably why they didn't wade in those waters. If we had heard, last week that there might be some mutual interest from both parties to get rehooked together.
Right, and that didn't happen. He's gone. What did he go to, the Giants?
He got 3 years, 30, I think 17 million guaranteed to.
So
good for him though.
We get the news that we got Josh Jacobs, and everyone's like, yeah, heck yeah, this is going great. And then that's after the morning of releasing David Bakhtiari, which is fine. Everyone knew that was coming. It was
that was
kind of departure.
That was kind of also the overtake was like David got cut, so there's a lot of these Twitter people looking back, throwing out, their remembrances, like the David
tributes.
Tributes. Thank you.
Yep.
Better word for it. Couldn't come up with that. That's how good my brain is. A lot of David Bakhtiari tributes, remembrances. A great career in Green Bay. An All-Pro left tackle. Many times a second-team All-Pro left tackle many times, but just played in the last 58 games. I think he missed 40, some of them. So. Writing was on the wall with that one. Obviously, he was going to count 40 million, and they could get at least 21 back. We'll see if there was any injury grievances made. We don't know that yet, as nothing's come out with anything said to that. But yeah, then it was weird because I'm hearing all this Bakhtiari talk, like you're mentioning, and then I'm like hearing on the radio somebody says Josh Jacobs. I'm like, excuse me, like the running back. So I start like, I'm flipping through the Twitter.
Hold my calls.
I
got to do something.
No, I'm just like, scrolling the Twitter. I'm like, huh? And I find one.
Yeah.
It's like,
boom. There
reported.
It is.
I'm like, I'm like, what does this mean for Aaron Jones? That was, my first thought was not, a lot of people went, this is going to be great. For a half an hour, people were like, this is going to be great to back these two guys
It was
together.
like 12 minutes.
Like,
that's what I was. I was in that camp. I was thinking,
I didn't
this
think
is
that.
Great. This is
I was
awesome.
like, somebody tell me why. What? And literally my tweet was, what's the rationale here? I tweeted, I'm like, what's behind this? And then so I throw out that tweet. I'm like, it's interesting, could be good, but what's the rationale and what's the contract look like? And then within, it seems like 15 minutes, it's just like,
bye-bye.
Aaron Jones somebody's like, I'm listening to also sports talk at the same time. And they're like, oh, we got breaking news. And I'm like, and it comes and I'm like, it's like somebody hit you over the head with a frying pan.
Yeah, it was very gutting to see that. It was very surprising. I was on cloud nine with probably most of the universe. Evidently not you, but we were like, yeah,
you went to the pairing.
The duo.
You went to the pairing.
Hell yeah, because I'm thinking, why would you get rid of Aaron Jones? Yeah, he's coming back from he's back from injury, right? Like if he re-injures, that's a scenario that'll happen, and then you have to deal with it. Right now, he's not. So it's like perfect, right? So it gutted me. I couldn't believe it. I just sat there saying why I wouldn't do this. It really was. It was hurtful. Like I'm just like, you're getting rid of the next Donald Driver, the next Leroy Butler. You literally are cutting him over what? And we find out later what that is, and it's not very much, but the process that it got to that point, it was a decision made by the Packers. It was a decision made by his camp. So yes, both things happened, and they were just like, no, we can't make a deal. And so I understand a lot of it. I can wrap my head around all the reasonings behind why the Packers did it. And we can get into some of that.
And we should.
I totally know why, but still, it was really, to me, it was like, how could you do this? I thought we were over this type of thing. And this type of thing, I mean like the Jordy Nelson, which just totally reminded me of Jordy Nelson here. And it totally reminded me of like what Aaron was talking about when he said he was trying to fight for himself and other players in the Packers organization to treat them like human beings and not like just numbers. And we're back here again. That's what I felt like. I felt like the Packers are back to it. This is just a business. These are just numbers. Too bad. And like, I understand that, but in certain situations like this one, it's I would not make that choice. And that's what it still is a little bit kind of like, I wonder now still again, I thought maybe Brian got into the way of things. He understands that these are human beings, right? He understands what this means to the fan base, but he clearly doesn't. And that's going to bother me for a while. I can't get over that. I understand it with my brain. We can hash it out.
He's got a job to do, Tay.
He's got a job to do, but this one hurts because I think we all can agree that this could have worked out, paying him another $1 million or $2 million or whatever. I know it's just millions,
but they didn't know that at the time, Tay.
They didn't know that, and so that's why it stinks to know this stuff afterwards, because you're kind of experiencing it well after it's already taken place, right? Mm-hmm. And so we're getting all this stuff at once. So when you it's really hard to compare and contrast. We're signing. Who'd we sign? Nixon. I forgot to mention Nixon.
Keyshawn Nixon. Yeah.
We signed him, and it's like, well, how can you pay him, $18 million or what?
And the numbers are never the numbers, though,
right?
Tay.
But so that I see a lot of that, like, how could you pay him that and then not pay Aaron Jones? Well, this happened in succession, right? First, you get to the impasse. You say, no, here's the line in the sand. Then you move on. You try to go get Josh Jacobs. And then you're left with, okay, making decisions on everyone else. So it kind of like, it compounds on itself, but things happen first to lead you to other things. And Nixon was, a couple days later, that kind of thing. So I don't know. I wanted Aaron Jones back. I'm still gutted that he's gone.
I still want Aaron Jones back, Tay, but he's not coming back.
And then so I understand he's getting older. He's almost 30, right? He's 29, right? Or is he 30?
He's 29. He'll be 30 in December.
And so I get that. I get not trying to pay him. But again, it's this like low cut, low ball attitude that the Packers have sometimes with certain players, mind you, that just still rubs me the wrong way. I thought we were over that. I certainly would have never chosen to go down this path. And I think they made a mistake with that. I think it hurts the organization when you're trying to get free agents to come here, especially big name ones. Like you don't. This isn't pretty stuff. Like players notice this stuff. They don't like this, and I think we saw a lot of that with Aaron and his crew, right, coming through here and kind of like going like, we don't really like this stuff. And I know it's a business, but you can make decisions that are favorable for the way you handle it. I mean, maybe the Packers thought they were with Aaron Jones. Maybe they were like, well, we were in negotiations for weeks with him, but this is just what's going to happen. So I understand it from in my brain why they did this, and it's going to always hurt, but I understand it. So It's just, that's what it is.
It hurts, Tay. I mean, listen, it's a 1-year deal with the Vikings. There's part of me that's like, maybe he'll come back next year. That'd be cool. But probably not going to happen. The reality is probably not going to be a reunion. The real piece here, Tay, is it's, as other people have said, it's better to do it a year too early than a year too late. My thoughts on Aaron Jones as far as how many more years he'd truly play and be effective in Green Bay, I thought they would get an extension done and it'd be 2 years, and he's probably pretty done after that. He's not been available a lot. I mean, when he was available, Tay, he's a big reason they win in Dallas. Yeah. He's a big reason they win down the stretch. I don't think right at this point in time that Josh Jacobs provides him that at all. I don't. Josh Jacobs is younger. 2 years ago, he led the league in rushing. So he brings some things to the table, which is great. I think you had two camps here. They've been negotiating a couple weeks. They both drew a line in the sand and played the F around and find out thing. Like, no, we're not budging. Nope.
Yeah. And this is
nope, we're not budging. And like Andy Herman said, and I think he's right, once you say, and you're the Packers management, and you say, hey, this is our red line, you can't come back and be like, okay, now we'll
Yeah.
because then it gives every other agent, like he said, the idea that you're soft.
Yeah.
So you can't give a guy like Drew Rosenhaus the idea that, well, maybe the Packers will just back out of it. They don't play hardball. Like, they're weak.
But the Packers started low. Like, they started at this low spot, which is what I think. I think they kind of kept it up.
Yeah, they just always were like, they just didn't come up enough. I mean, you've got Matt Steinman's tweet up on the screen, and it really wasn't much of a difference. Like everybody else said, why did you have to choose the team you chose, Aaron? I mean, you had 30 other options. Probably somebody's going to give you that same deal. And you look at this whole thing, personally, I think with hindsight being what it is, both camps, if they could go back, would probably get a deal done if this is where it ends up.
Yeah.
Because they got to be like, well, we think we're worth way more in the open market. Well, nobody even gave you a multiple year deal. And at most you get 6 with $1 million in incentives. I'm guessing that million's for like, you're on the field so much and X. He's probably not getting that $1 million. Mm-hmm. So they're a couple $1 million apart, which in NFL terms is like nothing. It's easy to get to the middle there. I don't understand that, but I think you had two stubborn parties, Rosenhaus and Aaron Jones going, we just did this last year. We gave you a deal. We reworked our deal.
Yep. Twice, right? Overall twice.
We're not doing this again. Look at how important Aaron, my client, is to you guys down the stretch. He's really important to your football team. And they're like, yeah, he is. And he's great. And he's beloved. And he's everything. But we also know, Drew, that running backs get to 30 in the NFL and it's done. And he is there in less than 12 months. He's going to be 30. So, and look how much time he missed last year, Drew. I mean, this is a business. It's not show friends, it's show business, right? That's the thing. Even if you're beloved, you can go out the door. We thought the Packers were young last year, Tay. I mean, they're super young now.
Yeah, and they will be.
Their oldest guy, I think,
was Preston at 31.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's it. Other than that, I think Andy pointed out today, everybody's 28 or younger.
Yeah. Yep. And
that's incredible, Tay.
And I think that's what they kind of want.
And I think they want to have a youth movement. They want to have all these guys coalesce together. Yes, Aaron was a huge part of that leadership piece, and they're going to miss that. But I think they also want Jordan to take that reign, and those young guys all this to blossom, work together. And Aaron wasn't going to probably be there in 2 years. Yeah. And ultimately, they said, "Okay, you want to play hardball? We can get this other guy on what appears on the money base a 4-year, $48 million deal to be big, but it's not. It's essentially a year-to-year deal. They can get out of this next year if they want."
Yeah. Yeah, and
so what?
You're right. You're right. Josh Jacobs isn't proven necessarily, especially in Green Bay. He didn't have a great year last year. I saw a ton of that stuff trying to either justify why he wasn't with the bad O-line play at the Raiders.
They have a awful O-line.
But I'm fine with this. I think Josh Jacobs is a great running back to pick up to try to be your number one guy. It's fine, but I just think there was a place for Aaron Jones as the number one or number two to go back and forth with.
As the 1B.
You need two running backs.
Yeah, you do.
You do.
Absolutely.
And right now,
100%.
You have Josh Jacobs and Emmanuel Wilson.
Correct.
Who it's like,
it's okay, fine. They're going to draft one, Tay, and I think they're going to draft an Aaron Jones style back, a fast guy. But will that rookie running back likely make an impact on your team like Aaron Jones would have had last year or this coming year with Josh Jacobs? Hell no.
Yeah.
No, not going to happen. But will it be better for the long-term duration, growing with the rest of the young guys? Yep. Yeah, absolutely will.
I think that's the decision that Brian Gutekunst, had to make, and he did. And he just said, "No, okay, we're doing this." And I mean, my brain says, okay, I get it, it's fine, and it's true. Like, Brian's known when to pull the plug and known when to do the stuff. We were at the end of last season, we were like, "Holy crap, this guy did a great job," and everything besides the Aaron Jones move wasn't in question for me. Like everyone knew all this other stuff was going to happen. We said we'd love to see a safety go come to the Packers in free agency. It happened.
They got the best one,
Xavier McKinney,
to fit their system.
Awesome. So that's such a good move. Like, even if you're, I guess, renting him for like 2 years or whatever, you're bringing in a guy that can help you.
They can maybe get out of it by year 3, but I mean, this guy's just
26, right?
No, just turned. I think he turns 25. He's 24. He turns 25 in August. Okay. So I mean, he's in the prime of his career. Yeah. You just signed the best post safety to play Jeff Hafley's system. He has literally all those things he talked about. Mm-hmm. You just checked box in a free agent class that he was the best available.
Yep.
And in a draft class that's not very good. And you just took a huge need off your piece. But going back to Aaron Jones, it was like, you said it last week. It was a perfect way to say it. Aaron Jones was, and at the time, is beloved like Donald Driver and like Leroy Butler, guys that can do no wrong in Green Bay.
Yep.
Literally, like Aaron, there's always, some questions. Aaron was always mercurial and,
Rodgers.
Yeah. Rubbing some people the wrong way in some way, shape, or form. Some people didn't care for his attitude or, his diva-ness. And some of the receivers over the years and the other people. But Aaron Jones, nope, could do no wrong to any type of Packer fan. The Packer.
Yep.
The leader, the everything, and it killed me, and it sucks. And I was like, to me, that we've been doing this so long, I've had some over emotional reactions. I think that'll be my last one. Like there was still like that fan in me. Like I love this guy. This hurts.
Yeah.
But I don't know if there'll be another one like that for me, Tay. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe another guy comes along and it really makes me feel that way, but I think I've become kind of separated from that part of it. That I don't know if I'll feel that way again. But that one, it sucks. It bothers me. And then to see him just like so many before him end up over in, the Hornland and in the purple just is going to be gross. And I can't stand it. And I know that's where he got the best deal, but it almost seems still a little bit like he's pissed, and he probably is. But it's just like, God, why do Donald Driver, speaking of beloved, he did get an offer to play one more year in the NFL, and he didn't do it, and it was from the Minnesota Vikings, I think. So,
man, the Minnesota Vikings and the Chicago Bears just love to pick up guys, and I don't even think it's because like we need a guy that it was there. We needed to get some intel. I don't think it's that at all. It's like, what is it?
But your Aaron Jones, like this is your best offer. Like this team is headed towards the bottom, Tay.
Yeah, they're not contenders.
Sam Darnold
is
their starting quarterback. Yeah. They're gonna be straight trash next year. I know they had some decent signings, but they also lost to Neil Hunter. But they got Greenard. It's like they kind of flopped out some guys. They've done a lot in free agency, but and obviously you still have arguably the best wide receiver in the league. But how good can you be with that guy as your starting quarterback?
You got Hawkinson.
Yeah, Hawkinson, your guy. Yeah, TJ Hawkinson.
Well, so to me, it happened pretty quick that he got to a new team, and that was that night. You were like, I think he's going to be a Viking. I was like, it's probably about right.
That was all the rumors coming through.
I don't know if it was that night, Monday night, or was it Tuesday morning?
That was Monday night. I sent you the text.
But that Tuesday morning he signed. I don't know. To me, that seemed pretty quick, but I guess so you think they went through the whole process? Drew Rosenhaus contacted everybody that he thought interested, and then they came back and said, okay, we'll settle for this. That's what happened.
You would have to think they contact enough channels. I mean, because Aaron Jones, I mean, the Houston Texans traded for Joe Mixon. That'd be a great place for him. He's from El Paso, not terribly far. I mean, right. Texas is massive, but from Houston, his home state. That's a team on the rise. Would have made sense. They needed a back. So I assume they probably contacted Houston. Maybe Houston said, no, we're going to go this other direction. But Joe Mixon's old, too. I mean, he's a young guy. He's 28.
Right. And he had some legal issues last year, too.
But he's got a lot of tread on the tire. Yeah. And I think somebody else brought it up that at this point in their career, at age 26 versus age 29 for Aaron Jones, that Josh Jacobs had more carries in his NFL career thus far.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean availability. Aaron Jones was out.
What's the best ability, Tay?
A ton last year. And yeah, I keep, not forgetting, but I keep remembering that David Bakhtiari, Devondre Campbell, and Aaron Jones were on contract. Like, they got let go. They got released, cut to make money, right? To make room for other things to happen. So that, those are just kind of casualties. So like the Packers, remember, weren't willing to pay Aaron what he was on contract for this year. And we decided to cut him. David, you can understand that. Devondre, I'm still torn a little bit about that. But
yeah, but with the injuries, he doesn't really fit best in this new scheme. Yeah. It's just, they're gonna have some trouble with that position right now because there ain't much left in free agency. And the draft too weak in that position. Like, I don't know how I feel, with regard to the off-ball linebacker, Tay. But
looking ahead, like the league year started and free agency started 3:00 this afternoon. Although this huge tampering 2-day period was a flurry of activity. I loved Andrew Brandt's tweet, like right around 3:30. He's like, "Yep, free agency started or ended before it even started, basically," because there was all you get is like these contract announcements now. Not a lot happened after 3 today. So that's just kind of like a funny anecdote. But do you think, I think the Packers are done here. They're going to go into Packer mode now and work with wait for the prices to come down, wait till the end of things. Maybe there's always a few waves of free agency. I don't think we're going to see a lot of stuff here. I feel like we're going to get at the end of things and nothing will be flashy. We're not gonna make any big splashes anymore. I still, like you said, I think we're still thin at some positions,
big time.
And so it's you even need another safety. You can. I know we're gonna draft them, but still, it's get some bodies in here, right?
Yep.
Get some competition because Anthony Johnson Jr. is your starting free safety or strong safety right now, along with Xavier McKinney. It's you got two, basically. Mm-hmm. So what are you going to do? Linebacker position, Quay Walker and Wilson we just re-signed?
We got McDuffie. Yep.
And anybody else?
That's it.
You got Enigbare, who's going to be on IR for a long time.
Yep. At edge.
Preston, Gary. Yeah.
Or defensive end, as they call it.
Looks a little thin there to me. So it's
you look at O-line depth, Tay.
Yeah.
They got a starting 5, but pretty sparse beyond that. The cupboard's a little empty.
So do you think that, seeing the draft, and this is great. I love seeing what happened with the Packers now, and then looking forward, we got the draft coming. We got 6
weeks.
And we got a loaded first 3 rounds comparatively to what we've had.
Yep.
Gotta love that. So yeah, I don't even care anymore about the safety. We were we gotta get a safety, and you'll draft one, but you don't need to do one first round anymore.
Fuller's still out there. I mean, there could be a little. I wouldn't be surprised over the next week if there's even the next few days. There's another safety.
I'd like to see it, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
I don't know, man. Wouldn't blow my mind at all, and I expect some kind of move, with some kind of backup type of O lineman or another safety to come down the pipe in the next couple of days. I really do.
That'd be cool. I would love
even maybe a cornerback, possibly. But you obviously got Ballantyne back, and you got Nixon back. Obviously, we know they got Jair and Stokes. I don't know if he's ever going to play in the NFL anymore. Based on he's just going to be slow as molasses, I have a feeling, in training camp and in the preseason. But still don't have to necessarily go there, but that could happen too. So, Brian said he's open to trades this year, so who knows, man? I mean, he's got draft capital. You don't know what's going to happen. There's going to be some more movement. Some more interesting things are going to happen. Yeah, it sucks Aaron Jones is not going to be part of it because I think, man, you come down the stretch next year, it's going to be a miss.
Yep, I agree. It's going to be a tough one to see him tanking out there in Minnesota while we continue to rise. And I'm not trying to boast us and be, pretentious, but that's the facts. Like the Packers are trending up.
They just got a bridge quarterback and not a good one at that, Tay, that they're going to try to move up in the draft to get, one of these top 4 quarterbacks. They need to. They have to.
They waste picks on that.
They're basically doing some shuffling and some rebuilding. I mean, they just lost their 2 main edge rushers from last year. Yeah, they brought in a good one from Houston, but I don't know. That team's in disarray, Tay. Yep. That's their plan, though. I mean, that they kind of had, we'll see. We'll try it with Kirk, when they brought in their new GM and a new head coach 2 years ago. And they said, we'll try this for a couple years, and if not, we got to pull the plug on this thing and start building. I think it's true. I mean,
no, I know,
Kirk
but
Cousins
I love to see
it always
fail.
Great. But,
I love to see it fail.
Yeah, like Vikings fans and sports media tell you, like, yeah, Atlanta, enjoy your 9-8 season with Kirk Cousins, because that's what you get. The guy's won less playoff games, somebody is saying, than Baker Mayfield, and he's been in the league like 6, 7, 8 years more. I mean, it's crazy, but yeah, you gotta restart at some point, and that's kind of what they're doing.
And we've, knock on wood, we've done it the right way. We've restarted or reloaded the right way.
And now they're young as hell, Tay. Yeah. Like I said, we didn't think they'd get any younger, but they did.
Did you believe that when you saw that Kirk Cousins deal? Did you think that?
Of course.
You thought some team was going to do that?
Yeah.
And
because he was going into free agency, Tay, as the best option. So somebody was going to pay him ridiculous money. And he gets the most guaranteed money out of those quarterback deals. He does. By the time that thing's said and done, somebody pointed out he'll have made over $400 million as a starter in the NFL.
Yeah, unbelievable.
It's incredible. Yep. That guy played the game just about as good as anybody ever could.
Yep.
So good for Kirk, man.
Do you think
he's a wizard?
Do you think he's a good quarterback?
I think he's above average quarterback. I don't think he's a great quarterback.
How would you compare him to Russell Wilson right now, going into this year?
Oh, he's way better.
So tons better than Wilson.
Yes. Well, Russ, he's got that weird personality. Like, guys like to play for Kirk.
I'm just saying football skills.
Kirk's a bigger guy that can make all the throws. Russ is a short guy, limits his play a little bit, and some of the things you can do when you're that short from that position. Not the case with Kirk Cousins. I think Kirk is a much better quarterback than Russell Wilson, yes.
If the Packers could have a backup quarterback for 1 year on a veterans minimum deal, Russell Wilson or Kirk Cousins?
Oh, I'm taking Kirk, man.
Yeah, I had to ask you that. That was a request by somebody. Somebody you know.
I'm sure. Well, I would take Kirk because, again, he could do things that Russ can't, and Russ is such a weird guy.
Kind of weird.
He just
strange.
There must have been some kind of conversation with him and Omar Epps. I mean, Mike, the head coach over there. That Mike Tomlin. That's just like, this is the way it's going to happen here, Russ. We're not dealing with Mr. Unlimited. It's not happening.
Yeah, you're limited.
You're doing what I want, how I want.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to talk about every week. There's not going to be extra locker rooms, extra crap. This is brass tacks. This is football. I got to imagine they agreed and said, okay.
Well, I don't think Russ probably had a choice. He wanted to be somewhere quick and let's get this done. Let's move my life forward. But I think there's probably a handful of coaches that I would think would work with that, like would be good for Russ Wilson to be like, okay, our way or the highway. And one of them is Mike Tomlin. Yeah. So, maybe that's good for Russell. Like that, maybe that's what he needs.
We'll see. Now. But I mean, if he doesn't play well this year, I'd say the career's pretty close to over.
Yeah. So. And then and Kirk Cousins has a new coach down there. I don't remember who it is in Atlanta land, but that's a new coach down there. They
brought in defensive guy was a head coach, I think, for a minute. Can't remember.
You're gonna make me look it up.
Yeah, absolutely. You got the internet at your fingertips, Tay. Come on, give it to me. Raheem Morris. Yes.
Oh yeah.
So Raheem got another job as a head coach in the NFL. I think he had just a taste for a moment, and good coach. But obviously he's a defensive minded coach. So I don't know who's running. See who's running their offense today. Go Falcons offensive coordinator, because I guess we're a Falcons podcast now. We got to know this stuff. But going back to it, while you're looking up Falcons offensive coordinator, again, just kind of like this Aaron Jones thing, just. totally skewed. Like we're all, so Zach Robinson is, but we all get, Zach Robinson is the offensive coordinator of Falcons. Everybody needed that. But we all get like just this weird, like, how do you get over the release Aaron Jones? It's hard. None of us are still over it. And then they, Ted bends down and lends you a hand, and in comes Xavier McKinney. It's like, I told you, it was like, there's no way they're signing this guy, Tay. They don't outbid anybody, and they really outbidded, because apparently the Giants were working behind the scenes, offering him like 13, 14 mil to come back, and then Green Bay just said, this is our number. Bam. And it was done. So they just blew him out of the water, and nobody talks about it because it happened right after Aaron Jones. We're all just like, this is amazing, but why are we feeling so crappy?
And that's why it's just kind of, it did suck. That day was like a super roller coaster. It was like David Bakhtiari emotions, and then you got Jacob's emotion coming in, and then Aaron's down, and then McKinney's up, and it's like, wow.
But think, I mean, in reality, on paper, you got a younger running back who was the, number one running back in the league 2 years ago.
Yeah.
You got arguably the best safety in the NFL to play the way the Packers want the position played.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the best safety, but pretty much top two at that position. The way they envision him to play in that defense, you got, top two guy basically in his age prime. Like, this is his second contract. This is where guys are like literally playing in their prime. This 4 years, if he's healthy, could be just phenomenal with this guy. So Savage leaves, and this is his replacement. And you're just like, damn.
Yeah.
That's like one of those, damn. Like,
huge move.
This could be,
huge makeover.
This could be, for the way this defense is, this could be almost akin to when they brought in Charles Woodson.
Yeah.
It could end up being that big of a deal. Will it? I don't know. Because, obviously 1A is Reggie White, 1B is Charles Woodson. I'd say almost 1C is Julius Peppers. Yeah, it was a pretty good signing at the time. It was a weird one, but it was a good one.
Yeah.
So this could be one of their best free agent signings, top 5 all time, if it works out. So
I agree,
we should be that excited about Xavier McKinney.
I am. I mean, this defense got, I don't know if it got better, but you got more comfortable and more confident in the back end, at least. If you do have your everyone healthy that we have on defense now, obviously you can't include Enigbare because he's on IR. No. But it's all right. He's got some holes. But and that's why it feels good to go in the draft with whatever picks.
With that huge amount of capital. Let's say they don't get another safety. So you draft one. Big deal. And you got one young guy you're going to maybe play in there. He's going to get a lot of playing time. Guess what the Packers did last year? They played a lot of young guys. And they only got better after playing a half season and got their feet wet. And I hope Brian understands that moving forward, like, and the coaching staff, that because for so many years, guys got drafted and they didn't get enough snaps year one. Just throw them into the fire. Let it go. Get them seasoned. Yeah, they're going to make some mistakes, but they're going to be better for it. And
that's pretty much every position except, I believe, the quarterback. You cannot throw the quarterback in there.
Because then, they burn out, they lose their confidence, and then next thing you know, they're done.
I mean, it feels good. I mean, the Lions, I don't know what the Lions did at all. I can
tell you. I mean,
I think they got rid of some people rather than pick them up.
It's pretty crazy, Tay. But, around the north, if you want to know, let's give you the Lions. You brought the Lions. So they released safety Tracy Walker. They re-signed kicker Michael Badgley, Tay, who won your deal. They re-signed linebacker Jalen Reeves-Maben. They re-signed running back Zonovan with a Z, Knight. They re-signed tight end Shane Zylstra. They re-signed cornerback Emmanuel Mosley. They re-signed Graham Glasnow, who was a guard. They brought in, we talked about a veteran edge, cheap deal. They brought in Marcus Davenport from the Vikings, previously that, and the Saints. 1 year, 6.5. That's all he costed. They did acquire via trade, I think, a pretty nice cornerback. Had some injury issues last couple of years from Tampa, Carlton Davis III. And they also signed cornerback Amik Robertson, 2 years, 9.5. So kind of just a mid-tier cornerback, and re-signed guard Dan skipper. That was the Lions so far. And if anybody wants this out in Packer Universe, Pro Football Focus has their free agency tracker, and it's got every position, every team, and they update this all the time. It is in depth here, Tay. Want to talk about the Chicago Bears? What blows down in the Windy City besides the Bears? They blow. We know that. They released guard Cody Whitehair. They released the longtime safety Eddie Jackson. They acquired guard Ryan Bates via trade. They re-signed the big deal, Jalen Johnson, 4 years, $76 million. They signed a guy we might be familiar with, safety Tarvarius Moore, who was brought in last year, didn't do anything in Green Bay. Re-signed long snapper Patrick Scales. Tay signed the first safety that come off the board because he was released by the Eagles was safety Kevin Byard, who was with the Titans before that. They signed running back DeAndre Swift.
That's big.
Tight end Gerald Everett. Safety Jonathan Owens.
Yep. Kazuna.
Tackle Matt Pryor they signed. Quarterback Brett Rippon.
Yeah,
I saw him live this year playing for the Rams. He sucks.
Yeah.
And that gives you an idea that we know Justin Fields, one way or the other, not going to be in Chicago. They're not getting much for him, but he's going to get traded. And linebacker Amen Ogbon Bermiga to a. I wish you could have had that one. So
yeah, you should have let me have that one.
But the first day, the Bears, they bring in DeAndre Swift.
That's my top favorite for them.
And they announced Kevin Byard.
Yeah.
But the Packers also get a safety and a running back. I honestly think the Packers their running back safety way better than what Chicago got. Chicago had much bigger free agency money to pick from.
Yeah.
And that's what they ended up with, Tay.
You'll never know exactly what happened and why, reasons you can speculate. Obviously the Packers are trending upwards, and it's really hard to convince yourself that the Bears are going upwards, or the Vikings. The Lions, I think, did a pretty good job of doing some things to keep their relevance, right? So congratulations to them. I think the Vikings will be trash next year.
Well, we didn't read that off. I got to tell you a little Vikings free agency tracker.
Lay it on us.
They did release running back Alexander Madison, as we know. They re-signed tight end Nick Muse. Re-signed tight end Johnny Munt. A couple guys. They did bring in edge Jonathan Greenard. We talked about him. He was one of the big signings this week. They re-signed guard Blake Brendel. They re-signed tackle David Quisenberry. They signed edge Andrew Van Ginkel from the Miami Dolphins, a la Wisconsin Badgers. Signed linebacker Blake Cashman. Signed quarterback Sam Darnold. Signed kicker John Parker Romo, Tony's brother. Signed running back Aaron Jones. Released defensive interior lineman Dean Lowry. Signed wide receiver Brandon Powell. And re-signed defensive interior Jonathan Bullard. So Bullard's a nice little player. But, the Vikings are active. But, again, this team, I don't know. Again, your bridge quarterback with whomever you draft as your rookie is going to be Darnold.
I love it. I love it.
Xavier McKinney loves it, Tay.
Love it.
He's going to love it.
It's going to be great. So I just think looking around the North, we're going to be competitive next year just based on what has happened in the first few days of free agency. This is the Lions and the Packers. Oh my. This is these two for the division crown. That's what it comes down to. We'll be talking to our friends over at the Cub and Cub podcast, right? Yeah, the Lion and the Lion Cub. We'll probably be talking to them and
we'll be talking some smack,
maybe.
As it goes throughout the course of the season. But I don't think the Bears or the Vikings, have much to really talk about in at least year one of likely the Caleb Williams experiment in Chicago. See if they can ruin another one down there too.
Yes, and they will. outside of the Aaron Jones thing, I think the Packers had a great free agency period here. I think
so far so good.
They've really tackled a position that everyone knew, including us, they needed to address was the safety room, and they did. Huge upgrade. Love that. And they let go and created cap space of players that we kind of knew that was going to happen, right? So it was no real shock and surprise here outside of Aaron Jones. So yeah, give it to them. Hopefully they can get some good deals maybe on some players. I still think we need to. There are some positions we've mentioned in the last several weeks of where you actually probably need to get free agents over rely on the draft for starting positions. But we're in that position, that time frame of this reload, Ren, with the Packers that we're not afraid to just shove young people in there. So it's kind of hard to say exactly what will transpire with the rest of free agency here from the Packers, but you got to be stoked about what's happened so far, and this just makes things more interesting and makes the draft more exciting. I think when you fill a hole, the other ones that are left open, it gets more of your attention. So now we can look at like, what do we need for depth here? What do we need for in a couple years when all these offensive linemen start, running out of their contracts? Do you load up now? Do you just keep refilling that room here? So all these things are really exciting to think about. And I think going into this draft now with what we have, the young team trending upwards, it's fun. This is great. It's just. It's going to always kill me that Aaron Jones isn't a part of that until he wants to leave. So
it's always going to be a tough one for me to wrap my brain around. Again, I'm just going to have that way in the back of my mind, hold that hope that, he plays in Minnesota a year and just, hits the market again next year and a little reunion for 1 year in Green Bay and can play as a second, backup running back to whoever's the number one. And maybe we get a Jacobs Jones thing for actually 1 year and he rejoins the fold. But yeah, as this thing moves forward, Tay, I would say now, in my opinion, and I'll get yours, in my opinion, at the top end of the draft, I'm taking an O-lineman, the unsexy pick. I think that's the priority. They always say, these games are won and lost in the trenches. I think they need to get more depth there fast, and I think they need some potentially better players than obviously Sean Ryan on the line, who's now starting guard. Mm-hmm. Definitely going to need a guy to push him right away. That's where I'm going to key for that first round pick. It's a deep O-line draft up front. I'm getting one of those big guys, and I'm throwing them on my squad.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's probably most likely to happen. That running back position, that safety position, there aren't a lot of first, second round guys slated for that. And you'll get those later.
And I think maybe that second round pick, potentially you might say if there's a safety you really like there, you get one, or you start maybe looking at those running backs. But there's some guys, again, I think in third, fourth round running back wise, some of these smaller guys that could really turn into potentially what you'd like, similar back to be with that initial whole burst that Aaron Jones has. I listened to Andy Herman break down, Josh Jacobs versus Aaron Jones, and a lot of great things to say. But the one thing that stood out to him was, and he watches so much film, he really gets into it. Like he says, he nerds out on that stuff, and which is great because it's fun to listen to. But Jones doesn't have any hole burst at all. Yeah. I mean, not Jones, Jacobs. Jacobs doesn't have any hole burst. Where Aaron Jones is just shifty back. I think Jacobs can be a great back for him, but he does not have that ability, and we're going to really miss that. And that sucks, man. Come back to this again. It's hard not to circle back to Aaron Jones, but it's going to be an interesting one to watch out there. But I heard some really great things about the actual content of character on Jacobs too. Okay. Like, this guy's really highly thought of by teammates and around the league. Another really good quality character guy. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I think that maybe influenced also part of his leading the league a couple years ago, playing behind a bad O-line last year in Vegas, and Brian saying, hey, this guy is a good dude, he's going to be a good locker room guy, guys like him, he's a good character guy. That's the Packer thing, they want character guys too. So I'm going to root for him hard to be what he was 2 years ago, and hope it works out.
Going back to that draft, I guess, kind of like thinking about what's going to happen there. I could see us outside of the quarterback, wide receiver, and maybe you could lump in tight end. I don't see how drafting the best player available is bad at that point. Like just in the draft in general. Obviously you need O lineman, right? And if that's not the guy, if like no one's there that you like, I guess you just draft the next best player available.
Yep.
If he's not a quarterback or a wide receiver. I don't think you can go wrong with that because you can fit those guys at anywhere. And obviously injuries are going to happen. We all know that. And depth is huge. And so take the next guy available. And if that happens or when that happens, I'm not going to be too upset about that. If it's a quarterback or a wide receiver in the first round, I'll be upset.
I mean, if it was like one of those really great wide receivers, somehow he fell to him at that point, I'd be like, damn, rich get richer. But yeah, no, it's not going to be a quarterback. But yeah, it just makes sense to they need some offensive linemen today.
Yeah,
they really do.
Yep.
And or the sneaky shocker one somewhere early, that another just defensive lineman. There's a couple out there we'll probably talk about over the next many weeks because that's what'll change to his potential draft picks. But hey, if they take a defensive interior kind of guy, don't be shocked because the last Ted Thompson pick on the roster, Tay, is Kenny Clark, and we know right now, like, you're in danger. You're in danger of not being there very long. We obviously know Kenny's a hell of a player, but his contract's coming up, Tay. So again, don't be surprised they go with, especially with this new 4-3 defense, just a mountain of a man in the defensive interior.
Well, we've got a lot of free agency time left here, like a whole, like a month and a half or so, a month, maybe a little more than that. And then we get the draft. So we got a lot of time to speculate on what they're going to draft. A lot of, time to react about whatever free agent pickups they do make in the next make in the next few weeks. So yeah, let's just keep this rolling, Ren. I'm feeling pretty good outside of Aaron Jones, but I'm feeling pretty good about this. So yeah, let's try to keep our chins up here a little bit and keep going forward.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, Tay. I mean, it's gonna be we'll wake up and be like, is Aaron?
Is that a dream?
Did that happen?
Is that a dream?
And then you start seeing those mocks of Aaron Jones in a Vikings jersey, and you're just like, my God. But yeah, Tay, it'll be fun to talk on nonetheless because I think they had a pretty, outside of the release of Aaron Jones, a pretty damn good Monday.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate everyone for listening, subscribing, and supporting us. We can't do this without you, and we love that you follow us every week and give us a listen. So, Ren, take us out.
Yeah, Tay, until episode 264, Tay, on the pup list.